Let's get right to it. Why should manufacturers pursue certifications? Well, it's a strategic directive that you may want to roll out in your organization. You may want to differentiate yourself from other suppliers out there. You may have gotten inquiries from suppliers with surveys that ask you a series of questions in the document, and they will want to know what certifications that you currently exist so that you can qualify to be a supplier. They may want you to address your quality management system and how structured it is and how is it audited. You may need to address industry standards and compliance, and we're going to talk about those today. You may need to show evidence that you have a process certified by independent bodies as well, and we're going to talk about the standards to do that as well today. You may want to share with your clients how you're growing your in-house teams and capabilities to meet their future needs. The other important part of this is managing your business. How are you going to manage your business over time, as well as strictly working in DoD type applications where you need to protect critical data and so forth. I was just at a company this week locally, which I've been involved with for nearly 25 years, and they've moved from DoD work to the automotive industry and now medical devices with 3 operations, 2 in Connecticut and 1 in South America. Businesses evolve and you need to be prepared, and your quality management system and your certification should come along right with it. What does it cost to get certified and how long does it take? Well, each one of the areas that we talk about will have a different cost and different timeline. Let's start fundamentally with quality and the ISO 9000 family of standards. Initially, you'll need to develop a quality manual, procedures, work instructions, and audit plans, and conduct audits for 3 months. So from a timeline standpoint, probably 9 to 12 months is a standard timeline for achieving ISO 9000 2015 certification. Now, if you're in the aerospace industry, you may need to focus on AS9100. If you're in the automotive industry, 16949. In the medical device, 13485. These are all additional elements of the ISO standard that you need to comply with. So that may extend your duration some. Now, what does it cost? Well, typically my experience has been, and this goes back to my period of professionalism working at KPMG and with the university and bringing a program to Connecticut to get over 90 companies certified in a relatively short amount of time. The cost for this is, relatively speaking, twofold. One, your internal cost, and then 2, your external costs. What do those costs look like? Well, you may decide that you want to put a team together to begin the development of your quality manual procedures and your work instructions. You may bring an outside consultant in with templates. Let me remind all of you, you need to build your own system so you can manage it. If you engage a consultant that provides you the completed quality manual, completed procedures, completed work instructions, I would question and say, is that really the business that you're in? Does that fairly represent what you do? And are you going to be able to audit and attest to those processes and that data in your audits to verify and validate that you are producing what you say you're producing, for what and for when and to what standard? Then once you've gotten through the process of developing your quality manual procedures, your work instructions, and your audit plan, you need to conduct audits for 3 months before an assessor will come in and do an independent audit. Now, there are all different types of assessors out there, and there are industry-specific assessors. So it's important for you to know what market and what industry you're in so that you select the right registrar. And I always advise my clients to select 3 registrars and solicit them for quotes, because each one may be a little bit different. But you want one that's going to fairly represent who you are, what you do, and what your clients are looking for. Let me give you an example. In the case of an assessor, one may say, send us all your documentation, we'll review it off-site. That cuts down on the travel time. That cuts down on the audit time. That can be done. I prefer to build a relationship with the assessor and have the assessor come in and do it on site, meet with my team, do the walkthrough, so they can really see the system in process and in action and get questions answered. I think that's a very critical point in building your relationship with your assessor, because this is going to be a long time relationship. You're going to sign a contract for 3 years, a surveillance audit, or a primary audit, and more than likely 3 surveillance audits. What do those audits cost? Well, they can vary, as I mentioned. I've seen, again, that type of ISO predominant registration running for a company of 10 to 25 people in the 13 to 15K range. And I've seen consultant fees in helping you prep over that 9 to 12 month period in a similar range. So we're talking 30 to 40K. These do come with cost, and these are not going to get you new business. They're going to prepare you to qualify to get new business. So when people thought of the standards as, hey, this is going to bring me more business, that is not the case. You still have to go out and solicit vendors, provide your quality manual sometimes for inspections, answer those client surveys before you get qualified to deliver to that client and get your system, your quality system approved, as well as some of the others we'll talk about. What's most important here is be a smart consumer. Get quotations, pick the assessor that best fits you and your business. That's what's going to make this overly successful. What are some of the common certifications for today's manufacturers? They vary. In quality, there's the ISO registration and others. In safety, the OSHA compliance. In corporate social responsibility and national standards, we saw some of this in the last administration with the Biden administration in the DOE proposals I submitted, where we had to put together a corporate social responsibility plan and a community engagement plan to demonstrate how we were going to bring this work into the company and how we were going to engage the community with the work that we received and build our community. Energy and sustainability, ISO applies here as well as building a good sustainability and carbon footprint reduction plan. That's very important. Compliance with legal requirements, ITAR. If you're doing DoD work and you're dealing with drawings, you're going to need to be ITAR compliant. I have a number of clients that work with Pratt & Whitney, for example, and when drawings come through and specs come through, they're marked and they have to be sent through certain channels. Same thing with Sikorsky and a number of other aerospace companies I've worked with. ITAR compliance is critical, and your maintenance of that system in your organization is absolutely critical. Compliance with industry standards. The DoD has made a big push, and I'm going to share this with you on the cybersecurity maturization model. Here at CONNSTEP, we've engaged a number of clients in that arena, and we have an expert on our staff who is a cybersecurity level 1, cybersecurity level 2, and secret path client clearance as well, so that we can support that electric boat world and so forth with clients that may have processes that have to be secure. Not everybody has that. Not every consultant has those kinds of resources. So make sure, again, when you're looking with as consultants to help you with this, take all that into considerations. And the other area that applies to medical devices often is the good manufacturing practices, 21 CFR 820 for the FDA requirements. And you should be aware, if you're in the medical device arena and providing parts, a good conversation with your customer that you're supplying those parts to. Make sure you're meeting all of their requirements in the ISO standard and providing them the details they will need to accept your parts. There are several certifications for individuals, and we are not really going to look at individuals today. We're going to look at company certifications. I will touch base on continuous improvement, which does have a tie to individuals, but often in an ISO quality management system, which is the international standard that most manufacturers are following, you're going to need to identify a continuous improvement system to demonstrate that you are evaluating your suppliers and scoring your suppliers, A, B, and C, moving the C's, assuming those are the ones that perform not as well as the A's and B's, either to B's or dismissing them and moving the B's to A's. Continuous improvement is going to be an important part of that. Your supply chain management is going to be a part of that. They're going to want to know how are you doing your cost reductions and improvements to reduce the cost to them and improve your productivity and quality. And this could be through automation, this could be through Industry 4.0 initiatives, et cetera, down the road. Then the next piece of this is the NADCAP process certifications. Now, again, most of the aerospace industry, AS9100 parts have some form of heat treating, coating, etc. And you may need to provide the NADCAP documentation to support any of your suppliers or yourself if you are a heat treater, coater, or the like. And we'll go through the 6 of those. Continuous improvement, again, this is a foundational component of a quality management system. There are individual certifications most often, but companies can adapt the practices or adopt the practices, I should say, of continuous improvement, being the Plan, Do, Check, Act, the Deming-Duran way, lean processes, like Art Byrne here at Wiremold and Legrand, famous for that, and Womack's book as well, or Six Sigma, commonly referred to by Jack Welch as the GE way, but originally adopted by Motorola, the green belt, the yellow belt, green belt, black belt, master black belt type certifications for your individual. CMMC cybersecurity certifications are also very important for DoD clients, and we're going to address those and the status of them. We have had 3 of our clients in the last quarter be audited by the federal government after doing their level 1 certification for purposes of compliance by the feds. Those certifications went very well, but now we're facing cybersecurity level 2, and then of course ITAR compliance that we talked about earlier. What are some of these ISO families of standards? What I'd like to draw your attention to is the top of the screen. And working with my subject matter experts here at CONNSTEP, Rochelle Brown, I've vetted every one of these standards with her, and also identified websites that you can go and click on to get more information. If I were to pull up every one of these standards, this would be a semester-long course, maybe 2 semesters. What I'd like to do today is just go through these and their applicability, what are most common, and then for your own purposes, you can take the deep dive. Or you can reach back to us and we'll be happy to help you understand them more clearly with the help of one of our subject matter experts. But I want to highlight again Rochelle Brown for the great job that she does for CONNSTEP and with all of our clients. The yellow are highlighted as what I tend to be the most common that we run into. The ISO 9000, 2001, 2015 quality management system tends to be the foundation for most of these ISO quality management activities. So the quality manual, the procedures, the work instructions, and your internal audit plan. Some people will say 3 levels of documentation. I like to include the audit piece of it because you've got to verify and validate that you're doing what you say you're doing, and then you got to prove it, not only to your assessor, but to your clients and as well, and customers. So I like to call it the 4 elements of the quality management system. QMS is another short term for that. ISO 14001 is an additional standard that focuses on environmental management. The occupational health and safety and food safety ISO standards I have run into, and when I worked for KPMG, we had a large number of clients up in the New Hampshire, Maine area that in the fishery world that did food processing and food standards, and HACCP was very, very important there, as well as the Safe Serve type certifications as well. But we're not going to go there. We're just going to talk about the ISO activities for now. The yellow, energy management, is a common standard, 50001. Carissa, our subject matter expert and ISO implementer and continuous improvement person, just got certified in that. And it focuses on helping you with building out the energy plan for your organization. Why is this important? In the last administration, we saw a very large focus on corporate social responsibility planning and carbon footprint reduction compliance. Now, my suggestion to my clients is, if you are ISO registered to 2001, 2015, or you're 1345 or 6949, you might want to take a look at 50,001 to see what you need to tweak in your quality management system to be compliant to this as well. It's another feather in your cap. Some of the primes like Boeing and so forth are still requiring this of their aerospace clients. Information security is another one of those standards. Anna Mumford, who we'll talk about in a few minutes, is pursuing that right now to add to her cadre of resources in security, cybersecurity. Medical devices is very common here in Connecticut. ISO 13485. We did have a large component of automotive-related manufacturers in Connecticut, 16949. Risk management is a part of the standards as well. And you know, my time at KPMG taught me very, very good discipline in every business engagement. Risk assessment is critical. Where are you vulnerable? What is your plan to deal with that risk should it come to some fruition? How do you avoid running into those situations? And another part of that. So risk management is critical. And of course, then business continuity planning. We don't plan for disasters, but they happen. It can be weather related. It can be earthquakes. It can be a host of different things. And you know, how many of you were caught during COVID with having to turn employees out and didn't have a plan? The company I was working with didn't have a plan. I went back to my Boy Scout manuals, emergency preparedness merit badge, pulled that up and built a business continuity plan in a week for the company. And we turned out 16 of our people to work remote for that period of 4 or 5 months. And we were a manufacturer. Only the manufacturing folks were allowed back. That continuity plan worked well for this, but it did open the team's eyes to the importance of having a good business continuity plan at hand, updated. Maybe you don't need to have it certified, but be familiar and keep it active like you do your business plan. Under the NADCAP component, there are 6 core processes. Now, we find this mostly in AS9100 companies. These core processes include heat treating, chemical processing, non-destructive testing, welding, surface enhancement, and composites. If you go to the PRI site above, and I will thank Rochelle again for this, you can get more data on each one of the processes related to these particular core processes for compliance. Again, we don't have time here to go into every one of the requirements, but this is a resource for you should you need to look at your product and NADCAP certification. Continuous improvement. Again, as I mentioned earlier, continuous improvement is an important part of your quality management system, predominantly in the ISO system. Many of you may have experienced, as I did, the transition from MIL standard 9858 45208 World War II quality standards late in the 80s, mid 90s. That's when in North America here, ISO became a very significant part of the world-class quality system in North America, like Europe had already implemented it. The fundamentals and basics of that quality management system were found in the Deming and Duran handbooks, if you will. They were the gurus. They were the talented process productivity experts of the time. They came up with a total quality management plan. And basically, this is your plan, do, check, act methodology. And this is still a core process, a core component of your continuous improvement system and your total quality management system. So these are some good people to read up on if you want to understand TQM and how it's evolved and how quality systems have evolved, again, to the point of being an educated consumer. Lean manufacturing, reducing MUDA in the value stream mapping your processes. We do this all day long with our continuous improvement clients to identify areas of waste, cost reduction, process improvement, productivity improvement, a very strong fundamental process management activity. I've done this in the public sector with the city of Anchorage, Alaska, also with the state retirement system of New York when I was with KPMG. Did a lot of quality work, Six Sigma, and other with Ross Perot's company, Fairchild Semiconductor, and Samsung as well. Art Byrne from Wire Mold, now Legrand. He is the local Connecticut guru, along with Jacob's Chuck, that implemented lean manufacturing here in Connecticut very early on. It's as a part of the continuous improvement process in ISO-related activities at wire mold and the like. Six Sigma, yellow belts, green belts, black belts, master black belts, the Jack Welch GE way, and Motorola Six Sigma concept. This is a much more in-depth quality management initiative where individuals get trained in skills around the DIMAC, and that's the design, implementation, and etc. of the Six Sigma process. And the idea is to to eliminate defects. Usually a company will start off with a little awareness as a yellow belt. What is Six Sigma about? What do we have to do in our organization to set up a Six Sigma type process? The green belt is where we get people trained, and this is normally like a 40-hour program with a team exercise going through the DIMAC and the elements of Six Sigma. The next step is the black belt, and these are the implementers, the professionals on the floor that run events, Kaizen events and such, to identify areas to reduce waste in the value stream. And then master black belts are qualified beyond black belts. Black belts in their training do their own project. They get certified. The project gets reviewed by the consultant, and they get the classification of the individuals as a black belt. The master black belt is designed to set up your Six Sigma system for your whole organization. Usually in an organization of 50 or so people, you may have one master black belt and multiple black belts. And if you green and yellow belts that as they emerge in the quality management system. The other important part of continuous improvement is, do you have a robust supply chain management program? Here at CONNSTEP, with the help of NIST, we developed a very robust training program. In fact, we're offering it as a public program in November. We tested it with a small cadre of clients about a year ago. We got some interesting findings there. We tested it with some larger clients and found too that we had to build some robustness into it for the larger organizations, so that it was more appropriate across the board, small and medium-sized organizations. And it's a new program that we're launching in November that I'm really excited about, because it is a good foundation for you, if you don't have a supply chain management program, to begin thinking about that. And there's a couple of add-ons that I'm working on with my team right now. One is that make-buy analysis. We do that in lean. That's part of the lean process. However, there's a cost accounting piece of that make-buy analysis that's absolutely critical. And I'm working with a PhD to put that together, who's worked with me in the past, where we've done the traditional cost accounting methodology, verified and validated with the client, and that worked out very well. You just don't make supply chain decisions based on gut. You make decisions based on data, and that will help you make those decisions. So the other interesting party that I'm working with in this arena is looking at the 9 core suppliers that companies deal with, and looking for ways to reduce their costs of those contracts. In this case, the individual I'm working with worked with a local company and reduced their cell phone costs by over $100,000 over 3 years by consolidating the 5 different plans in the organization that they had deployed and bringing them all under one provider. Is there an element of risk there? Yep, there is an element of risk. That's a business decision. When you select one provider, that does introduce that level of risk. But again, these are business decisions that you make to run your business. And fundamentally and foremost, in your quality management system, your QMS, your ISO management system, you will need to do a management review with your management review team. You'll need to identify in that process who's on your management review team. Usually it's the quality manager, the management rep who reports directly to the president, and then the operational staff around that CEO or president. You will be required to hold at least one meeting a year to go through all the audit findings and the corrective actions prior to your assessor coming in for surveillance audits and so forth, and you'll have to show how you're addressing those corrective actions. This is the perfect time to look at your business plan again at an interval in the year, 6 months, 1 year, because most of us write a business plan today for 1 to 3 years, 5 years on the outset. It used to be 10, but things are way too volatile. So 1 to 3 years is most realistic. You can see it, you can touch it probably. You can have some insight from your competitors and your clients about where they see business going in the next 1 to 3 years. But this management review is focused on the quality management system, but I often recommend as a best practice to those companies that do this to take out that business plan at that same time, even a summary, and go over it with the whole team at a management review. Because why? Because they should come together. They should be a living document like your quality management system that you address at regular intervals and adapt and adjust. What is a strategy that doesn't get adjusted during the process and period that it was set up for? Things do change. We see COVID. We see natural disasters, unexpected. Preparation is 95% of being successful and continuing the continuity within your business. And some of it is blind luck. I will admit that. But having good processes and planning in place allows you to execute thoroughly, completely, and on time. So the SBA is a great resource for you in looking at your business plan. I've used their models numerous times with clients, adapted them to the client. If you're looking for a business plan model, go to the SBA website. They're available right there, and use it as you see fit within your organization. Make it your document, but it's a great foundation to start with. Let's move on to cybersecurity maturity model certification, most commonly referred to as CMMC, self-assessment and certification. Initially, companies were permitted to self-certify. About 2 years ago, I went through this with the help of CONNSTEP, the company I was at. We did an excellent job. CONNSTEP supported us, guided us, gave us templates. It was our cybersecurity management system. It was not CONNSTEP's. CONNSTEP guided us through this process of putting our documents together and doing the necessary audits to ensure that our cybersecurity system was robust, and that's critical. That was level 1. Now we're seeing the level 2 activities coming to prominence, and I'm going to share with you in 1 minute an advisory that our experts SME got here recently. If you want to learn more about this, you can go to the website above that's highlighted, thanks to Anna, to get more details. But now you're going to have to start identifying a third-party auditor for level 2 certification. And yes, that's in addition to your ISO, and they are different people. So there's additional cost there. You might ask me, how long does it take? It took us about 8 to 12 months, I would say, at the company I was at with 20 people to build our level 1 cybersecurity plan. As we moved to level 2, which required dual authentication and some other things, cost became a factor here. So we chose to push that off for a little bit, but very shortly that company is going to have to address that because they are doing work with the Department of Defense and NASA, the Navy is being Department of Defense as well. So level 2 is upon us. And we have people here at CONNSTEP trained in this arena. Your MEPs across the country have resources in this area. We can tie into our network and help you no matter where you are. That's one of the nice things about dealing with your state MEP. And there are 2 elements of documentation: the federal contract information and the controlled unclassified information that need to be protected. One in level 1. Federal, number 2, controlled unclassified information. And here is that advisory that just came out. It's not commonly referred to as 48 CFR DFARS rule. This outlines for you the 4-phase rollout of the CMMC process and expectations. Starting into November 10th, DoD contracts will require compliance. That means if you're a company and you're doing DoD work and you're not complying, you're not going to get that work. So time is of the essence. Right now, we have over 15 projects going with clients in this arena alone. So that's the sense of urgency we're facing. and I just trained 4 additional people in this process of doing the assessment to support Anna and implementation within CONNSTEP to address this issue, because we do in Connecticut have a lot of companies that do DoD work, and they're all coming to us at once, and they're on the same deadline. So get on board soon. If you are a DoD contractor, get on board soon with the CMMC requirements. Contact your local MEP to help you, other resources professionally that you may be familiar with. It's going to be critical to your wins and losses with new work. The phased rollout, as I mentioned, for phase 1 begins November 10th of 2025, followed by the accountability and supply chain responsibility. Look again here, supply chain falls in this category as well. So if you're doing ISO quality management work, running a quality management system, make sure you're looking at that supply chain. If you're doing work with the DoD, make sure you have a robust supply chain management system and that you're working it. Ryan Scott is one of the experts here at CONNSTEP. He would be a great person to connect with on this topic, and he will be instructing in the program in November. And I will add his name to the chat here shortly, so that you can reach out to us and ask for him if that is an issue for your organization. His focus again is on that supply chain component for both ISO and cybersecurity. ITAR compliance. Many of the clients we deal with work with Pratt & Whitney, and here is the U.S. Department of State and the National Archives site that breaks this down further. If you're dealing with drawings that have strategic defense applicability and security, you need to be ITAR compliant. And there are a series of requirements here. Again, it would take up multiple slides to address them all in the exceptions, etc. I recommend you look at your business, you talk with your clients, your customers, you look at your competitors, what are they doing, and you make your plan to fit your business. Again, there is not a rubber stamp. One shoe doesn't fit all feet in any of these areas. These certifications need to be customized to your organization and your organization's strategic plan and future success. And modifications are bound to happen. You heard me talk about 9858 back in the late 80s, the World War II quality standard. I was around when the ISO system came in to vogue in Connecticut with the automotive and the aerospace companies. With Boeing, we had the D19000 spec, and my faculty at Central Connecticut State University were the only people in the area trained in that D19000. That became AS9100. The ISO 9001 and 9002 standards became ISO 9001 2015, maybe about 7 or 8 years ago, closer to 10 maybe now. And that eliminated the design or the service side requirements of picking one of the 2 standards. Now it's all under one, and then you have to go and select what applies to your particular industry, and include that in your QMS. This has been an evolving process. You need to train your internal people as internal auditors as well under this process. So this is a continuous improvement management system type approach to growing your business. And it should be well tied to your strategic plan, your business plan, your strategic business plan, whatever you would like to call that. But these should be running in parallel and updated accordingly. And you should be monitoring these certifications that you acquire through the websites here to see about changes. The Tech 176 committee was one of those in the ISO arena that, while I was at KPMG, we followed very, very closely because they would be making the recommendations of what may change in the standard going forward. So I just give you that advice, and you do have the link to that site in this document as well. How can you get help in navigating this process? It is complex. It's not easy. Every business has a uniqueness. Where do we start? Well, you're starting here today with Connecticut's CONNSTEP, the NIST Manufacturing Extension Partnership. This is just an overview of these compliance standards. We're not doing the deep dive. But from this presentation today, you should have enough information to go to those sites and look at how those standards apply to your business. And is it necessary for you to meet those certifications? People don't do this out of the goodness and kindness of their heart. They do it because there's a business reason to do this. You're either going to be able to pursue new contracts, and if you do pursue those contracts, because you have those certifications and qualifications, you will get those contracts. But fundamentally, it's all about the relationship with your clients. And the best kind of relationship is the relationship where you have a dialogue with those clients to understand their needs, share your capabilities, have an ongoing dialogue, be proactive, not reactive. Now, some people will say being proactive costs money. That's an investment you need to make. Reaction could eliminate you from the dance floor. And the cost to your business could put you out of business. So keep that in mind. These are wise investments in your business as your business grows and matures. You can start simple, no question about it, but there is a fundamental time commitment and cost to get into those certifications. Be a wise consumer. Reach out to your local SBA office. When's the last time you called them in and talked with the SBA office about their resources? The business plan one is phenomenal. It's fantastic. All the banks approve their business plan models. So if you're looking for funding and things like that, the line of credit, it's a great tool that you can pick up at relatively no cost and fill out and share for those kinds of purposes. Read your journals. When I was at the university, I had a wonderful dean in the School of Engineering, John Wright, PhD, but he was a welder. He owned his own business before he became a PhD dean. And he would say, Mullins, read your journals. You'll know what's going on in the industry. You'll know what your competitors are doing. You'll know what the suppliers are saying about what they're doing and how they're doing it. It's a good way to, again, be proactive in this process. See who's advertising in those journals. Make simple inquiries. Info here, make a connection. Talk with someone about your business and what services are highlighted there and how they might dovetail with your business. You don't have to make a decision tomorrow. This could be something for your planning. Contact your local professional organizations. We here at CONNSTEP are an affiliate of CBIA, the Connecticut Business and Industry Association. They are literally the business association for the whole state of Connecticut. We work very closely with their staff in talking to clients, supporting their clients, their members, and vice versa, both ways, getting involved in activities to help these businesses build sustainability within their organization. Look at your competitors. Get out there on the web. You know, it's one thing to sit in your recliner and thumb through the internet. It's another thing to sit there in your recliner, thumb through the internet with a purpose. Who are your competitors? What are they doing? What are they saying about what they're doing? They're giving you a hint. Take it. It's cheap. It's not going to cost you anything. Verify and validate it. Maybe some of your clients are also clients of those competitors. And you can talk to your own person. I saw so-and-so is doing this. Is this something we should consider? Would this help us gain more work with your firm? Again, inquiries, be a smart consumer. Ask your clients for insight. They're more than willing. Most times, clients will say, we see this coming down the road. It would enhance your position. It would help us because now we would have somebody qualified immediately to take on this additional work. That's the best kind of insight. Contact the assessment bodies and make inquiries. When you decide to go down this path, talk to people. Talk to people that are experts. No commitments. They'll be happy to share their marketing information. You might ask them who in your industry they're registering and working with. They'll be willing to share that. And they might even share some updates that are forthcoming that might differentiate you from your competitors. So make those inquiries, and when you do decide to select one, get 3 quotes. Get 3 quotes. Evaluate them. Have your team evaluate them. And make the right business decision from that. Be an informed and wise consumer. How many times have we heard that? You're going to buy a car. You want to look at specs on the vehicle, the safety of the vehicle. You have a young family. You want to protect them. You want a sports car? We're looking at different characteristics there. You're looking for a truck? We're looking for different characteristics there. Be a wise consumer. I will remind you, this is a long-term investment in your business. Make the right decision. Most often, once you pick an assessor or an assessment body, you'll stay with them for a number of years. Now, that being said, having come from the financial services world, is there value in switching auditors and assessors? The answer is yes. It comes with risk because they may look at things a little differently, and you might be surprised what you find out. You do not want a rubber stamp. Your clients will know that in a heartbeat. Your customers will know that in a heartbeat if you're working with some of this rubber stamping your quality management system, because the data doesn't lie. The product that gets delivered may not be conforming. So I advise you to make smart decisions by collecting the data. Without data, it's just an opinion, Gage Talker's line. Make the right business decision and execute your plan.